The Arctic Cheetah is a pretty popular light mech, I feel. It looks cool, it's got a variety of things you can do with it, base and with different omnipod sets configured, and it has jump jets, so it has speed, maneuverability, and decent firepower. However, there's always the want to make cool builds, and that's what we're here today to discuss. Another Reprime build, in this case for the Arctic Cheetah. What's up, everybody? I'm James, welcome to Mechanical Mayhem, and welcome back to the Mech Lab. We are going to be checking out a Reprime Arctic Cheetah build. This is a build you can do the moment you gain access to this mech, because it only makes use of the Prime Omnipod set. You can mix and match Omnipod sets to make really cool builds for all of your Omni-mechs, all of your mechs, and MW5 Clans, but we only start with the Prime Omnipod set. We have to use the mech to get chassis experience to unlock it, right? Hence, Reprime. Now, this is a setup that could be a little bit tankier if I wanted to, but I wanted to keep some of the original functionality in there, and it does rather well. Admittedly, I do come out of this configuration of build out for a more weapon-focused build using a different Omnipod set after the first mission, but you don't have to. This works out rather well, and remember, Reprime builds aren't always about sticking around. They are builds to get you through your first usage of that mech to either further unlock Omnipod sets or to upgrade out of a mech. Sometimes they can stick around because they're pretty fantastic, and that's cool, but that's not their primary focus. And this focus here is definitely to make the Arctic Cheetah be a bit feistier and survivable while we unlock the mech experience to get the Omnipod set of C, configuration C, to really go crazy with, or whatever configuration you particularly like. In any case, let's start off with the fact that we stripped down everything with the exception of the ECM suite and the active probe. I kept those just cause you could, get rid of it for a ton, and I think another ton. So you could have 2 more tons of armor to play with, basically, which is pretty nuts. But instead, I opted to keep those around. But you definitely don't have to. As you can see, nothing we can do in the head, the legs, or the center torso. So I stripped out all the armor, all the equipment, all the weaponry, and all the ammo. So normally up in one of these torsos is a tag, but we put an ER small laser. In fact, everywhere we had the ability to put an energy-based weapon, we did, and we put an ER small laser. This is going to be an exemplar of ER small laser superiority, because it's just a really good thing to have. So we have 1 in each arm, 1 in each side torso. Left and right torso and left and right arm all have an ER small laser. And then, as you can see, we have 2 half-ton armor pods on that torso. We have 3 half-ton armor pods on the left torso. So the right torso has 1 ton total. This has a ton and a half. Distributed over 3, because why not? The left arm has a total of 3 ferro armor pods, so that's pretty slick. And we have 3 also on the right arm. So the left arm, right arm, and left torso all have 3 half-ton armor pods on it. We can't do anything with the legs, center torso, or the head, so this is where we put our armor. And we couldn't fit another armor pod here unless we took the active probe off, so that's why we have it the way it is. And basically, it's a laser boat. Boat in Mech Warrior refers to a mech configuration that only makes use of 1 type of weapon, right? In this case, we are an ER small laser boat. So not bad. For our weapon groups, I have the lasers kind of going wonky, because I meant to put it on 3, but it didn't work out. But really what you can do for a better weapon grouping is to have 2. 1 for all of them, and another for chain fire. And that's even better, so that's great. Now, with that said, that's the whole build, and as you can see, even with the ECM suite and the active probe, we have 364 armor, which is nothing to sneeze at, right? Arctic Cheetah base is 153, so we basically doubled our armor, and we can go even further beyond if we drop the ECM and the active probe, but we're not. Just for reference, this is the Arctic Cheetah build that I ended up with, which has got way more small lasers on it. It still has an active probe, but the armor is a little bit less. Nothing super crazy, but if you are trying to eke out absolute armor on your light mech here, we can drop the probe in the suite and get even more armor than 364. So being a mech that we get access to immediately here on touchdown, we are not going to have, as we go into the shooting range now, we're not going to have any research or pilot experience to make use of. So who you give this to? Dealer's choice. You could use it. It's stout enough to be used. I used this in its other configuration in a mission, and it worked out fine. But you can use this configuration in the very first mission, no problem. Or you can give it to any one of your star mates. In fact, we get 2 Arctic Cheetahs, so having 2 Arctic Cheetahs in this build configuration is actually pretty nice. Now, we are affected by range, right? We are small lasers, but our effective range is 330 meters. We can shoot further than that and still hit the target. It's going to be hard to see, so we're going to go to 300 and, I don't know, basically 400 meters. And we're still shooting the target for good damage. So don't let the distance fool you on your weapon group reading on your HUD here. So we have pretty decent speed, right? We have high speed, we have jump jets, we have good armor, and we have pretty good punch in the form of ER small lasers. Definitely don't discount the ER small laser. You can see that it cycles pretty quickly. And that's the power of the ER small laser. It's not burst damage, it's damage per second. So you can potentially take down a Locust in one shot. Remember, these are AI level mechs of recruit. So in missions after the first couple and in higher difficulties where things tend to have a little bit higher AI, I think earlier, if I recall correctly, I could be mistaken. But basically, if you're going to see anything above recruit level AI, they're going to take a little bit more to destroy. However, this is still a good amount of damage for what this is. So there's a good chance you could really lay into a Locust with this, no problem. Just like we're doing. And as you can see the heat, I'm just going to fire on the move. We almost go down to like base heat of nothingness before each firing. Even with jump jets, which increase our heat, we're going to be pretty heat efficient here. Now you noticed in that particular shot, we are shooting, our lasers are not converging, right? This is because torsos cannot shoot as high as arms. So I had this backwards in one of my campaign playthrough videos for the, that I have on the playlist. But the arms are your circle here, and the center torso is the little 3 hash mark. I thought it was the other way around, but I was mistaken. As you can see, distance isn't really an issue. So don't let the ER small laser confuse you or trick you into thinking that you have to be within 330 meters or closer for it to be pretty effective, because that's simply not the case. It is pretty effective regardless with a good cycle amount. We are somewhat quote-unquote boring as a build. Boats tend to be boring for people, but as somebody who prefers energy weapons, I actually rather like this build. And as a result, I don't mind it, but you might think I'd rather have some variety, and you definitely could. I built this to do 2 things. Be able to fire off weapons quickly without worrying about heat or ammunition, and to have tankiness. Now, we do have the tankiness, and we do have the firepower together. We have even more firepower in the other build, which has 7 lasers, which I'll showcase in a future video. But I'm sure it's something that people have done ad nauseum because it's super straightforward to do and it makes total sense to do it. One thing to keep in mind, however, regardless, is where you are able to put your armor. Yes, our armor rating is double what an Arctic Cheetah basically is, but it's not in the head, it's not in the center torso, and it's not in the legs. So while we have extra armor, those spots really can't tank more shots than normal. So it's not that it's ineffective, right? It's still very much worth it to put those armor pods in place, but don't face tank things with your face and your center torso expecting to do even better, because you're not going to. It's going to be able to take the same amount of damage as it would normally, but when shots are coming in, you can torso twist, take shots to the arm, or try to like angle it so they hit your they don't hit your center torso, they hit side torso instead. You're not going to be able to do too much, but considering that by and large the enemy is not going to be super pinpoint accurate with their shots, this is going to result in your equipment sticking around longer and the mech ultimately sticking around longer, because yes, it is tankier, just not in those regions, but you're not always being shot in those regions. In any case, I could blow up mechs all day, but there's no need to do that. You get the point. This build may not have style per se. It may not be the most glamorously impressive build, but of the 3 Reprime builds thus far, this is the start of the one mech wrecking crew style of builds. Because as you can see, we're able to just knock down 2 of these locusts one after the other, no problem. And we get 2 of these mech chassis in our star. So right off the bat, in the very first mission, which I did on Expert on stream, you can make this build. Well, these are demolishers, they're super heavy, but if that's not working, you run into them. But I had 2 of these mech builds, or 2 of these Arctic Cheetah builds, out of my way, in my star in the very first mission, and it absolutely was noticeable, the power that the AI was putting out. I stayed in the Viper. I debated whether or not I should, but I stayed in the Viper, and between these builds and these 2 Arctic Cheetah, this build on 2 Arctic Cheetahs is what I'm trying to say. Between that, the Kit Fox Reprime, the Mistlings Reprime, the star was pretty stout. We were cooking on Expert. So if you are worried because you're newer on an easier difficulty, kit out your Arctic Cheetahs like this. Either pilot it yourself or just keep it where they are for your star mates, and you're going to have a good time. And remember, this could be even tankier because I have an ECM and an active probe equipped as well. So with that said, don't forget you have jump jets to be super fun and maneuverable, and our speed is pretty good too. You have yourself a pretty capable Reprime build. You don't necessarily need to make another one in terms of the other build that I have myself, that I'm sure plenty of people do as well, if you don't want to. This can serve you just fine for the entire time you have the Arctic Cheetahs around, but you can make a build even punchier. It'll just be a little less tanky. In any case, that's all I got for you in this one. Share in the comment section your thoughts on the Arctic Cheetah chassis overall. What do you think about this Reprime build? Are you going to give it a shot? Or did you reprime it a bit differently? Like I said, my focus was on no ammunition worries and being super tanky, and I think we got the job accomplished for the Arctic Cheetah, all things considered. So, hit that subscribe button to be part of future conversations more easily. Also lets me know you're enjoying what you're seeing. Post your thoughts in the comments, do the whole algorithm like stuff, whatever it is that you feel you want to do. And thanks for taking the time to click this video. Until next time, take care.